Most emotional marketing doesn't work, but not because it lacks creativity. It's because it lacks relevance. And that's the part most marketers completely miss. Because when people hear emotional marketing, they think about storytelling, cinematic ads, inspiring campaigns. But none of those guarantee emotional response, because emotion is not something you create. It's something the audience feels when they recognize their own reality in your campaign. In this video, I'll show you the real structure behind emotional marketing, why product-focused marketing fails, how relevance creates emotional response, and how to make your message feel instantly meaningful instead of just visually impressive. And once you understand this, emotional marketing stops feeling like creativity and starts becoming something you engineer. Let's start with the biggest mistake most marketers make. Most marketing talks about the brand. Typical marketing messages sound like this. Our software uses AI automation. Our gym has 120 machines. Our product contains 17 carefully chosen ingredients. These messages describe the product. They explain what the company built. They explain what the company achieved. But they do not describe the buyer's life. And this is where the problem begins. Because buyers don't emotionally react to products. They react to their own experiences, their frustrations, their problems, their aspirations. When marketing focuses only on the product, something important happens. They ignore it, not because the product is bad, but because the message lacks relatability. And relatability is what creates emotional response. So where does emotional engagement actually come from? Emotion appears when people recognize something meaningful to their life. For example, a problem they struggle with, a frustration they experience daily, a friction they want to avoid, or a transformation they desire. When marketing accurately describes these experiences, something interesting happens in the buyer's mind. They think, that's exactly what I deal with. Or, that's the problem I've been trying to solve. This moment of recognition creates emotional engagement, not because the message is dramatic, not because it uses emotional music, but because it reflects the customer's reality. Emotion is simply the brain signal that relevance has been detected, and the human brain prioritizes relevant information, because relevance may affect survival, status, or well-being, which means the brain gives it attention. This is the real reason emotional marketing works. To understand emotional marketing even more clearly, marketers need to understand something called customer awareness levels. Not every buyer is thinking about the same thing. Different people are at different stages of recognizing their problem. Generally, we can think of 5 awareness stages. First, unaware. The person experiences inconveniences, but hasn't recognized the root problem yet. Second, problem aware. Now the person understands the root cause of the problem, but they don't yet know how to solve it. Third, solution aware. They understand possible ways to fix the problem, but they haven't yet chosen specific products to implement a chosen solution. Fourth, product aware. Now they are comparing specific product options needed to implement a chosen decision. And finally, most aware. They already know what they want. They just need a reason to choose one option over another. Here's where many businesses make a critical mistake. They assume their audience is already product aware. So their marketing talks about features and specifications. All they try to do is outcompete others in satisfying the demand that already exists. But in most of the cases, large groups of buyers are actually problem aware or even unaware. And emotional marketing often works because it helps people recognize problems they already experience. It helps them understand their own situation. Once your buyer recognizes their situation, you still need to communicate value in a meaningful way. This is where another framework becomes useful. I call it the persuasion ladder. The persuasion ladder describes 6 levels of value communication. At the bottom of the ladder, we find the most basic information, product features. It answers questions like what the product is, what it does. Next come the benefits. What good comes out of it for the customer? Then problem solved, what pain disappears? Then the enemy the product fights. What negative force the brand or the product fights? Then how life gets better because of the product? What replaces the problem the audience experiences? And finally, the identity transformation. Who your customer gets to be with the help of your product. Most marketing stays at the bottom of the ladder. Features or best case benefits. But emotional engagement tends to occur higher on the ladder, when you no longer speak about yourself and your product, and instead start talking about your customer, and especially when you connect to their identity, because identity is deeply meaningful to people. Let's make this clear with an example. Imagine a gym trying to attract new members. On the feature level, you might say, we have 120 machines and modern equipment. We work 24/7. That describes the product. At the benefit level, you might say, you can train anytime. At the problem level, you might say, you no longer struggle to stay consistent with your workouts. Now it begins speaking about the customer's life. At the enemy you fight level, the message becomes, we fight the sedentary modern lifestyle. At the better life level, you feel energetic and confident in your own body. And at the identity level, you become the kind of person who prioritizes their health. Now, keep in mind, these are just the examples I came up with. You can answer those questions differently. You can list a lot of features, all the benefits. Each feature might lead to one or several benefits at the same time. You might identify different problems, name them all. You can choose another enemy to fight, describe them, name them exactly. You can list a lot of ways how life gets better once your customer starts using your offer. And finally, you can go with many different options for identity transformation. It's up to you. Don't treat this example as something carved in stone. It's just a way to show the process of a structured thinking. So notice something important. The higher the message climbs this persuasion ladder, the less it talks about the gym, the more it talks about the person joining the gym and the effects it will have on their life. That shift is where emotional resonance appears. The real power appears when these two frameworks work together. Awareness levels determine what the buyer is currently thinking about, what is their stage of recognizing the problem and looking for a solution. The persuasion ladder determines how meaningfully the message is communicated. For example, if the audience is problem aware, in order for you to be effective, you should clearly describe the problem in their own words, explain why it exists, show that improvement is possible. If the audience is solution aware, you should explain how the solution works, why this exact approach is more effective. When both of these frameworks are aligned, the message feels natural. It feels relevant. But when they are misaligned, marketing feels disconnected. And disconnected marketing rarely creates emotional engagement. Now we can see why emotional marketing is often misunderstood. Many marketers believe emotional marketing means producing emotional content. So they invest in dramatic storytelling, cinematic brand videos, inspirational narratives, emotional music. But if the context does not reflect a real problem or aspiration the audience recognizes, the content feels forced. People watch it, but they don't feel personally connected. Emotion cannot be manufactured through style. Emotion emerges from accurate relevance. When people feel understood, when they feel seen, when marketing reflects their own experiences, that's when emotional engagement appears. So emotional marketing is not about manipulating feelings. It's about describing the buyer's reality accurately. When your campaign reflects the problems people recognize, the frustrations they experience, the improvements they want, the identity they aspire to become, the campaign becomes personally meaningful, and meaning triggers emotional engagement. Most marketing teams treat emotional marketing as creative decision. Should the campaign be more emotional? Should it be rational? Should it be inspirational? These conversations often become opinion battles. But emotional marketing becomes predictable when marketers understand the structure behind it, the awareness levels, the persuasion ladder, and relevance detection. And honestly, this is what this channel is for, to replace opinion with structure, so marketing decisions stop reopening the same debate in every meeting. Before you go, I'm curious about something. What marketing challenge are you dealing with right now? Maybe your messaging isn't clear. Maybe your campaigns aren't performing the way you expected. Or maybe simply you get your work confirmed only to be reopened a couple of days later. If you're struggling with something right now, drop it in the comments. Chances are, I have experienced the same thing in my over 20 years of marketing career, and that I have already systematized the solution to that problem. My goal here is to help marketers replace opinion-driven marketing with structured marketing thinking. I'll see you in the next one.